Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Recovery Lab TV. My name is Chris. I'm your coach and sports therapist. Welcome to our Friday lower body prehab. It's an exercise class based for injury prevention, injury correction, and kind of bulletproofing your body from those non-contact injuries, or effectively kind of being that physiotherapy approach to your training. So if you already have an injury, this can help you get back fighting fit on the right path. So good morning, everyone. Good morning, Brian. Say hello in the comment section, everybody. It's always good to see you guys and see who's here. All I get to see is a number, unfortunately. I want to start putting some names and faces to people. Good morning, Kai. How you doing, buddy? How are we doing? So today I've had a lot of requests from one of our videos about a condition for the knee. Good morning. How are we doing? Excited about this one? Yeah, good. So we've had a lot of requests about basically knee problems. So this session is going to be all about correcting those issues that we kind of typically have with our knee. So most of us end up dealing with issues with the knee because of tightness here, weakness here, and then our knee and our kneecap tends to shift off track slightly, and we end up getting this condition that kind of basically irritates the back of the patella, as well as some of the soft tissue inside it, whether it's the meniscus, the ligaments, or catching on the tendons and developing tendinopathy. So I'm going to teach you how to pretty much bulletproof your knees and stop you getting these little injuries. So the things you're going to need today, right, and we don't normally do this, but because of the type of class we're going to do, you're going to need a foam roller of some kind if you have one, okay? You're also going to need a little resistance band that typically goes around your knees. You're going to need your mat and a big open space like you normally would in regards to our classes, okay? So if you can, grab your foam rollers, grab your straps if you can, right? And then I'm going to teach you how to look after those knees and kind of get yourself a lot stronger in regards to reducing knee pain, in regards to developing strength in and around the knee, okay, and focusing more on hip development and realigning that leg, because a lot of us splay our feet outwards, and a lot of us tend to not realize that our ankle is actually two joints, okay, and we have a tendency to rotate it this way as our leg rotates forward. So when we kind of, for example, squat, our feet may face one way and our knees may face the other. Now, this is typically common, very much so in people with weaker lower limbs in the ankle, okay? But it's also really common in women because of their hips are wider and then their knees come inwards, so you kind of inadvertently at a disposition in regards, especially puts a lot of stress on the ACL ligament, which is right inside the knee. You're 70% likely, if you have wide hips, to tear that ligament if you don't do these exercises, okay? So it's a super exciting one for you guys. This is kind of going to be your go-to. If you ever have knee pain, I promise you this one will help that, right? So I'm super excited to show you, and I hope you're super excited to be here. Like Tim said, it's a beautiful sunny day here in Cardiff. I hope it's lovely and sunny where you are. But yeah, if you've got these two things, grab them and get them ready, okay? So to begin with, what we're going to do is activate those glutes, all right? So you're going to put the foam roller here, okay? You're going to cross over the foot, and then you're going to place it on top, right? Now from there, you're going to roll from the little bony part in your butt, okay? And you're going to drip all the way to the outer thigh, okay? So you've got a little knobbly bit on the side, little knobbly bit underneath your bum, and you've got to go in between. Now what this does, it helps open up your glutes, because your glutes are kind of like an old-fashioned traditional Japanese or Chinese fan, where it fans out like this. Okay, you've got your glute muscles going from the little bony part of your bum all the way up and around the top part of your pelvis, and this kind of really opens up those glutes. And then as you roll, as you can feel, there's going to be a little bit sore, a little bit tender, because it's going to really hit those sore spots. And this is a really good one, as opposed to just rolling your bum in a straight line, like I see some people do, because it opens it up, it stretches out those muscles, and then applies the kind of the massage, if you will, right? And this is really good to kind of get your hips open and flowing and activate those muscles, because sometimes the muscle is so compact because you've been sat down in your job or in life, that the nerve endings are kind of squished in between those, and that's when you end up getting kind of sciatic issues shooting down your leg. If any of you experienced those, you'll know exactly what I'm on about. Okay, so from there, you're going to swap over onto the opposite side. Okay, you're going to cross over again, draw the knee down to separate and open up those glutes, and then again, roll in, using your hip to kind of seesaw from one side to the other. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're all okay. It's good to see so many comments in the comment section. That's what we're all about. We want to create that environment where it's all inclusive and we can help as many people as we possibly can, all right? So tell your friends, share it, share the information, okay? It's out there for everybody to be a part of and to receive and benefit from. So big roll, focus on getting as much tension out as possible. You could do this with a ball, however, I promise you it will be more intensive. All right, so just be aware of that, and then naturally the harder the ball or the harder the foam roller, again, it's going to be a little bit more intensive, okay? So from there, okay, glutes are working. What we're going to do now is our quads, because like I said earlier, okay, most of us tend to be tighter here, a little bit tighter towards the groin, but generally weaker on that inside, okay? So we're going to go up and down the quads. Okay, so if you can, you're going to lay in the middle of your foam roller, okay? You're going to come down into a plank position and you're going to roll backwards, getting that stretch from just above the knee, don't go on the knee joint, okay? Stretching out into a full position up towards the groin and trying to get the best out of those quads as you stretch and wake those up. Now, some of you guys are going to have a lot of tension within the muscle, okay? If I slide that up, you'll be able to see a little bit better. You're going to have a lot of tension. Now, that's going to display as kind of pain, unfortunately. However, the more you invest in this, the more you do this, the less painful you're going to find it. And it's truly that investment that is worth going through the pain, you know, because a lot of people's symptoms are kind of relative to tension, and they get in pain because they're tense, you know, not necessarily because it's injured yet. However, if you do nothing, what it'll do is lead to an injury, all right? So generally you get injured because you have weak muscles and tense muscles and tight muscles, okay? If you look after the tissue, it becomes healthy and much more active and much more stronger and compliant, if you will, okay? So notice how I got my feet together and they're pointed. What I'm going to do now is bring my heels together and point my toes away, and all of a sudden I'm going to get a little bit inside the thigh and towards the VMO muscle, the teardrop muscle at the top of the knee, on the inside of the knee, just like so. Okay, you're squeezing your bum, you're pointing your toes away, and you've got that little bit just by there. Good. Okay, set two more, nice and easy. Good. From there. Now, this one's the toughie. This one tends to have the most tension, okay? So, you've got the dimple by here. You've worked that dimple, okay, on the first exercise, foam rolling exercise, okay? Down there, you've got your TFL, right? It's one of your glute complex, okay? It comes running down here. Most of us call this the IT band, and you are correct by that, right? It's kind of like cling film to your muscles, okay? So although everyone says it's a tight IT band, generally it's a tight TFL, okay? And it pretty much kind of underlines and lays down in a similar sort of fashion, kind of coming from here, stemming down the side of the leg. But if you focus here and think of the IT band as the muscle group, as opposed to the band itself, okay, then you'll release this, all right? Now this tends to be, because it attaches at the hip and crosses over and attaches just by here at the knee, we tend to get a lot of tension, because anything that does this, okay, and anything that does that, okay, tends to take the brunt. Now, the way we kind of get rid of that, unfortunately, is laying on the side. You're going to drop the elbow. You're going to place one foot over the top to take a bit of the tension away, because this one tends to be the most painful, okay? So I apologize for that in advance, all right? So you're trying to put as much pressure on your feet, your hands, to take a bit of the edge off that leg as you roll out, okay? You're going just above the knee, but you're going all the way to the hip. And that tension, you'll know exactly what I'm on about as you're rolling, okay? Try and endure it if you can. So it's there, nice and easy. And again, this is just waking up the tissue, separating the tissue, ready for our activation exercises that we'll do in a second. And this is going to help loosen it up so we can help strengthen the muscles that we want in the right way, okay? So, swapping sides. Hope you're all okay so far, and I hope it's making sense. If you need to ask any questions, please do, all right? If you're wondering why we're doing this, just ask. No question is a silly question, because I guarantee you a million other people will be thinking the same thing, all right? So, nice and straight from the hip all the way just above the knee, drawing down, nice and steady as you go. It's brilliant. Good. Last one. Awesome. Well done. So, foam roll is done, out the way. All right. How are we feeling so far? Let me know. Yeah. So, some of these are going to be super intensive. All right. Some of these exercises, especially the IT band. Okay. But it's one of those things. When I first did that, I did 3 rolls and that was it. You know, it was so intensive on the side of my thigh. I was like, I was sweating, you name it, got hot and bothered. But the more you do it, the more it's going to release the tension, and it's going to basically make it 10 times better. You know, my feet used to splay out onto the side, and typically like that, walking like John Wayne, stood there, giving all this, right? Now, I ended up getting a lot of tension along here. When I then corrected that, it felt super uncomfortable and almost kind of painful, just trying to put my feet straight. And I would get my VMO muscles here, the teardrops, okay, would be incredibly sore because my muscles were super tight around here. Now, if you've ever done any sort of running and you get knee pain, it's generally because all here develops that tightness. And as you run, you develop it because, like I said earlier, you've got some of those muscles, that IT band attaches here, and it attaches here. So it's crossing over 2 little kind of joints, if you will, that similar to cycling, that you're going to be working a lot. So you triathletes are kind of really working that kind of side of your leg a lot. So you need to kind of be doing this stuff to really look after yourself, and then incorporating some of these exercises that we're going to do now, right? So, like I said earlier, right, if your feet tend to go one way and your knees tend to go the other, which is quite common, this exercise is going to be brilliant for you because it's going to teach you to draw up with your feet, which is going to make you better at running, okay? And it's also going to give you that strength. So we've done it a million times. I just may not have given you the kind of vitality about this exercise and how beneficial it is, okay? So it's really important that your kneecap faces where your toes are going. So at the moment, everything is faced in. You should feel it up here in your hip, and using your hip, you're going to draw out. So it's at a 12 o'clock position, okay? It's going back slowly and steadily inwards, okay? And then from there, you're drawing out just like so, okay? So to show you from the side, right, to show you where my knee is, okay, my knees are facing in, I'm tucked up with the toes, and I'm drawing out, and I'm working the entire leg, because a lot of us don't teach ourselves to engage this tibial anterior and the supporting muscles within that movement, okay? So it's there, I've got a nice proud chest, my back is straight, I'm tucking my toes up as much as I can. Some of you are going to feel it in the calves if you're extremely tight, okay, in that posterior chain, and it's going slowly in and slowly out, so you can develop that range. Now, if you tend to roll your ankle a lot, this is also a really good one for your ankle, because it's teaching you that awareness with your foot, because you're trying to keep it as flat as you can and tucked up. It really teaches you how to engage the kind of outer ligaments here that tend to drop down like so, okay? So it's there, draw it out, tuck it in, couple more. Good. Like so. Good. Right, relax, shake it out. Some of you are going to need to take it off. Some of you are going to need to roll the ankle just to kind of get rid of the waste product in there, that burning sensation. Okay, and then just grab yourself a little seat for now. Have a little drink. So these bands, what I'll do, it's by a company called So Fitness. The link will be in the little description afterwards. Okay, so just to let you know, I'm not associated with them. I don't get any money from them. I just think they're really good bands. Okay, but I'll put the link in the description afterwards. Okay, so here, what you're going to do, you're going to draw your right leg out. So my right leg is dead straight, if you will. So that's tucked up, and that's the finishing product, okay? I'm going to try and take this one a little further, and as you can tell, it's literally at that kind of 2 o'clock position. And now it's my job to correct it and draw it up and go back down, keeping this one exactly where it should be, okay? So draw it up, working incredibly hard as you do so. Now it's important that you keep that spine straight, those hips straight and nice and level, so you're controlling the movement in your body and everything is working together. This leg should be working incredibly hard, okay, just to stay upright in that position, okay? Because with your body, you want movement, all right, when you want it, right? Now that sounds obvious, but it's incredibly hard to not move when you don't want it. You look at balancing exercises, for example, you want to stand still on a ball on one leg. It's incredibly hard, okay? Now, if you get good at that proprioceptive exercise, okay, when you're then running or moving around, if you're swimming in a choppy sea, being able to co-contract, right, and control the movements and so on when you're doing so, it's incredibly beneficial to your sporting performance, okay? So controlling this leg now as you move this one, okay? That burn should be pretty incredible right now, all right? So you're tucking up, drawing out. As you do so, if you want, take the leg a little wider and then working really hard as you do that exercise, okay? Now be sure to tuck those toes up. Be sure to keep them in unison with the knee itself, okay? So as the knee rolls in, the foot rolls in, and the whole leg rolls in, okay? But that hip stays solid, the back stays solid, the spine is nice and straight, and that chest is proud. So you engage in the back, so everything is working as one. Good, 2 more. Big shake out after this one. Should be on fire already. So drop it out, kind of loosen those ankles, give a little roll, okay? You should feel it literally up here as it's kind of working right up to the top of the knee, all right? Now it's important to think that a lot of people forget that the muscles in the feet, they think they're just in the feet, but they actually are kind of really long, skinny muscles in the way that they come right up into pretty much your, if you were to wear tall socks, pretty much there, okay? So a lot of rolling the ankle. Now, people who do a lateral ankle sprain, which is this, okay, that's the second highest injury for runners. First is Achilles Tendinopathy, so tearing your Achilles. Now, 3 out of 4 people are going to experience those 2 injuries alone. However, a 12-week course of proprioceptive training can reduce that by almost 100%. Okay, it almost eradicates it just by turning up every Friday. Now, for you guys, I don't know about, for me, I was sold as soon as I found that. I wrote a dissertation on it. It's incredibly important. Just by doing some balancing exercises once a week, it can really implement your training, okay? So, that one is done. Moving on. Yeah, Amazon's great for them. Really good. I bought these on Amazon, but I'll put the link up afterwards. Okay. So this next one, it's important that foot alignment again. You've got the toes, you've got the knee, you've got the leg. It's all dead straight now. Okay. This leg is bent. It's kind of coming up. It's not right up against your bum, so it's kind of got that little bit of gap. Right. So you're not kind of really forcing the knee to flex. Okay. Now what I want you to do is glue the lower back. Now if you have to hold the head, by all means hold the head. Okay, but you're not putting any pressure on it. You're just gluing the back down, controlling those abs. You want to tuck those toes up to you, right? Because it's all too common to relax the foot and drop the foot out. Roll it in line, okay? You're going to come up, you're going to come parallel, and you're going to draw down, keeping it as straight as you can. Now, I want you to hold your head purely because I want you to focus on what that knee and that foot is doing, okay? So if you haven't already, tuck those toes up and get moving. You're going down, you're just keeping it off the floor, okay? Because I want your hip flexors to be firing, okay? Because a lot of us have weak hip flexors, which is why it's super important to glue that lower back down and work as you're doing this. Big, deep breaths. Keep focusing on what the foot is doing, tucking the toes up. Focus on the little toes as you tuck up. Doing phenomenal. Keep gluing that lower back down. Don't forget about it. Embrace the abs. Okay. Good. One more. Good. As you place down on the floor, you're going to slide back. You're going to swap over. Again, tuck the toes up. Focus on the little toe drawing up towards you. And then go again, okay? So it's there. You're squeezing the quads. Okay? It's about getting the strength in the quads in the right way as opposed to having it all on the lateral side, on the outside of your leg. As you're there, tucking those toes up, drawing up nice and tall. Good, nice and steady down. Bracing that lower back, don't forget, supporting the head. You're not tensing the neck whatsoever. You're keeping the knee, ankle, and hip all in line with the shoulder. Good, keep tucking those toes up. Doing good. Perfect, swapping over, well done. Keep the intensity up, draw straight in, squeeze. There. Some of you are going to feel tightness in your hamstring potentially if you've got tightness there, or maybe it might be displaying in the calf because of your main hamstring that crosses over and tucks underneath the calf. Okay, your bicep femoris is under there and will display by there because it's the only hamstring that crosses over the knee and the hip. So some of you that are tight in those areas are going to feel that as you draw up a little bit higher. Keep squeezing that lower back down, bracing as you do so. Good. That's it, perfect. Good, swapping sides. Keep it up, tucking the toes up, flattening the foot, making sure you're coming up and it's perfect as you do so, okay? That's it, focus on a nice, easy tempo. As you're there, brace the abdomen, brace that lower back, that should be as tight as you can. You don't want any curve in there whatsoever as you're doing this. Make sure those toes, that knee is dead straight as it comes up. You've got no internal or external rotation. And sometimes that's going to be really intensive as you do this exercise, okay?
Good. One more. Good. Now, we're going to use this leg now, okay? So, you're going to roll over. You're going to lay on your side like you would if you were kind of in bed. You've got one leg over in a nice 90-degree angle. That knee is resting on the floor, okay? This leg is nice and straight. However, I want you to tuck your toes up and I want you to support your head just like so, or rest it down on a pillow to keep your spine straight. That would be better and ideal if you can. This hand is going to be directly in front of that shoulder and the spine is going to be nice and straight, and you're going to draw this top shoulder because we have a tendency to curl in and drop. That rotates our spine slightly. We're trying to keep it aligned, so I want you to place your hands on your hips. Now, that bottom leg, tuck it up, okay? Tuck the toes up. You're going to draw up and back down. Now, it's super important that you keep those toes tucked up and back down. So if you need a mirror in front of you, grab yourself a mirror or move location so you can see yourself, okay? So if you haven't already, draw up, tuck those toes up, come in. You're going to squeeze it as much as you possibly can. Really work that leg as best as you can, really squeezing, keeping that neck neutral. You don't want to be drawing up like so, like you would if you were doing an oblique curl or crunch. Tucking those toes up. Now what you're going to notice is that front of the shin is going to tire out pretty quickly as you're doing this type of stuff, because a lot of you guys aren't going to be used to working those tibial anteriors, that front muscle here on the shin. And this is going to really, really benefit you, especially you runners, you triathletes, and the people with the weakest ankles. Okay, if you keep rolling your ankle, or if you're kind of, in quotes, clumsy in regards to kind of falling over, then this is going to really, really benefit you as a person and as an athlete. Good, one more. Awesome job. So, spinning around, exact same setup. Make sure the neck is nice and neutral. That hand is out straight in line with the shoulder. Okay, you roll over and you're tucking up with the leg, but it's directly in line with the hip, the shoulder, so that leg is nice and straight, okay? Hand on the hips, okay? Tucking the toes up, shoulder back, and then drawing up, okay? If you end up coming out with the toes, you'll end up rotating the foot like this, okay? What that does then is promote rolling your ankle, those lateral ankle sprains, okay? So it's really important that you tuck your little toes up towards you, okay? So you can feel the front of the shin, as well as you draw your heel away from the floor. So it's quite a toughie, it's quite a lot to think of if this is brand new to you. Good, keep it going. Keep it there. That's it, keep those toes tucked up. Keep the neck neutral. Good, two more. Good, last one. Perfect. Okay, how many people felt it right up in their groin by here, top part of their leg? That was really good, all right? So spinning around, keep it up, keep it going, right? Same again, opposite side though, okay? So tuck those toes up, draw the shoulder back to keep the spine neutral, keep the head neutral, palm rotated, drawing up, nice and steady. Now for me, this leg is a lot stronger. I can feel it already as I'm doing that. Now that awareness between one leg and the other is vital to develop your self-awareness to give you the areas of improvement that you need to work on, okay? So the more self-exploration you do in regards to working on these stuff every week, joining these sessions will help open your eyes up to that if you allow them, okay? And it's going to be really instrumental in regards to you finding out how you've got potential little niggles and injuries, and then how you can go about working on those to help develop you and keep you pain and injury free. Super, super important, because there isn't always a one kind of linear direction to fixing everything. It all tends to be a combination of who you are, what you do, and micromanaging it through exercise and developing strength, as opposed to looking for the magic tablet that will just numb everything instead of fixing the problem. Okay, so hands off to you guys for being here and fixing the problems. It's brilliant. One more. Good. Spinning around again, keeping that intensity up. Okay, it's really important that you kind of, when you do this type of stuff, you keep that intensity up through this type of thing, go from one side to the other, because these are endurance muscles. The reason why they get weak and injured is because they've lost that endurance, and you need to help develop that endurance strength so they support every little aspect of the bigger movements. Okay, so the running, supporting the knees whilst they run, supporting the hips, the ankles whilst you run or swim or cycle or weight lift or just go for a walk or chase your kids, you know, you name it. Whatever you're doing, you don't want to be injured doing it, you know. So it's really important that you keep that intensity up just by going from one side to the other and having a pretty much like a little micro rest in between each one. Good. Couple more. Good. Now, from there, we've done this one before, okay, where you go in an all four box position. Okay, I want you to engage your back by squeezing it. I want you to extend one leg up, and just like you have been, okay, by keeping that leg as straight as you can and in line with everything, so that the knees, the toes, everything is in line whilst you're doing this. Okay, it's really important that you come up, lift, down, tap, lift. It's a small exercise. I don't want you going up there and that bend in the back to happen. I don't want you to rotate the leg as you come up. All of a sudden, the hip is seesawing or kind of doing a boat rocking, going from one side to the other. I want you to extend out, engage the back, engage that, up to a straight line and back down. It's a super small movement, okay? Notice how this other foot is supporting, and I've tucked my toes up. I've got a lovely little right angle. My knee is directly underneath my hip. My hands are directly underneath my shoulder, and my neck is neutral facing the floor, okay? I'm not looking up, I'm not rotated, because it all impacts the spine and it all impacts the body, all right? This video will be online and saved, literally added to our online live video playlist, as well as this week's playlist, okay? I'm also gonna link this video to our knee video for you to kind of touch upon any point at any time later on, all right? So everything we do is always saved and uploaded, all right? So big deep breath, engage, big draw up, okay? Hit that straight line and come back up. There we go. Feel that movement at the top. Hit that straight line. Feel the difference in the pelvis as it kind of sinks into that deep socket and draws out of it as it hits the floor. Take the toes up. Keep it super smooth. You should feel it in the hamstring as you're drawing up, the top part, the glutes. Super slow, super steady. Good. Swapping sides. Again, exactly the same. Take the toes up. Keep the knee in line, all right? Big draw up. Now, super important that those toes and knees face the floor in that 12 o'clock position, or in this case, a 6 o'clock position. So it's all facing down towards the floor. There's no rotation in that foot or leg at all as you do this movement. Good. Keep the toes tucked up, 2 more. Good. From there, another counterpart, okay, coming straight down. You're gonna lay dead flat on the floor, okay? Now your knees are coming off the floor. Notice how that I extended them backwards, okay? From there, I'm going to my original foot. I'm lifting up, coming down, up, coming down. I'm not trying to lift my hip off the floor. I'm gluing my hip into the floor as I extend my knees back, and I'm lifting up so I can feel the front of my hip glued into that floor as I come down, okay? So, being fatigued, being a bit tired, focus on the technique of what you're doing. Push your knees away from the floor as you're doing it in those key movements. Big deep breaths. Good, 2 more. Good, swap the legs, keep the knees off the floor. Good, 2 more. Good. Gently shake that out. How many people felt it in that lower lumbar spine, okay? Notice how connective those hamstrings are, the glutes are, the lower back is, okay? So if that upper back, like I said yesterday in our upper body prehab session, if you can't rotate here, right, and you're rounded here, it's going to compromise there, okay? Because you'll end up being like that. And see that curve right by there, right by here? Okay, that's where then all the pressure is on the spine. Now, if you're tight in your hamstrings or your pelvis is tilted back, okay, those hamstrings are then going to pull on those hips, which are then going to make the hips unstable, which are then, when you're walking and running, it's going to plant onto those knees because those knees are then hitting the ground unstable. And you can imagine that, unfortunately, the way I describe the foot and the ankle and the hips, these are the big brothers, and then unfortunately this one is the little brother that kind of gets bullied in between, okay? So anything vibrating down here and shaking up, it kind of comes up to the next joint, and if in here shakes down into the next joint, and unfortunately this is having a double whammy, where generally if you've got unbalanced hips, you've got unbalanced ankles and vice versa, and it kind of really impacts our knees, which is why a lot of us are having knee pain in the first place, okay? So it's really paramount that you start linking the pieces of the puzzles together and saying, right, if my shoulder mobility is bad, it's going to affect my lower back. And if my lower back is being affected, it's going to affect my hips. And if my hips are being affected, it's then going to have an impact on my knees, my ankles, and so on and so forth. So it's really paramount, right, that you start then incorporating these type of things. And for those guys and kind of those people who are doing our full Monday to Friday sessions, okay, that's why it's designed that way, okay? There's a massive drop off on the Wednesday session because it's kind of stretching, it's yoga based and so on and so forth, and a lot of people don't see the benefit in that. But if you don't have the flexibility, you then don't have the mobility, then you then can't develop the strength within that full range, and then you stay injury free. Now, if you're not foam rolling as well, so it should be foam rolling, flexibility, mobility, applying the strength in the full range,
increases in performance, decreases in risk of injury. And it's that process, that chain, that really does make a huge difference into why we're doing it, what we're doing, and ultimately we all want to get better, you know, whether that's reducing pain or increasing performance, we all want to get in better and improve, okay? So it's really pieces of the puzzle that all of this holistic approach really does benefit you guys, and it's going to really impact you as a person, whether it's just reducing a bit of knee pain that you have or back pain, or just doing more of what you love, okay? So bringing these bands out once more, okay? Hope you're all okay so far. It's actually 3 times 10 with no rest. Yeah, what I would recommend is literally either doing a rep range, whether you're kind of doing, say, 3 rounds of 10, 20, like kind of 8 to 12 is generally the strength parameters, if you will, for kind of developing muscle, strength, endurance. What I say is, if you're cut for time, okay, do 3 times 30 seconds, 3 times 45 seconds, 3 times 60 seconds. That way, as you develop your strength, right, and you're using bands, you'll get more in, but you'll also get stronger in the meantime as well, okay? But more important than reps, focus on quality of each rep, okay? We live in a world where more is better. It's not the case, okay? The quality of each rep is better than any sort of rep range. So that way, you know you're working the muscles in the correct way and developing performance in the correct way, because the reason why we're doing all this stuff in the first place is because things aren't necessarily working the way they should be, okay? So you need to then really focus on that technique, focus on that foot engagement, focus on having a straight knee and straight toe as you drive up and out to the side and so on, without it impacting other things as you go along. Because if that foot's rotating and that knee's rotating inwards, you're just increasing the strength in a problematic way that is going to kind of bite you in the ass later on down the line, okay? So just be aware of that, okay? Good, yeah. So, these little things. Sliding your feet underneath like you did before. Now, tucking those toes up, okay, just like so. You're going to stand on one foot. You're going to glue those toes into, so separate the toes. If you're barefoot, go barefoot. If you can, take your socks off so it gives you some room to spread those toes, okay? You want to think heel and big toe there. You want to think tuck your little toe up on this side, so when you come up from there and you're drawing up, that toe is tucked up, your place, tucked up, your place. It's the heel that taps the floor on this side, okay? You're trying to balance as best as you can. It's a soft knee on both legs, all right? So you ready? Hands on hips, going in 3, 2, 1, coming up, drawing up, coming back down, tap the heel down, don't put any pressure on it, come up, drawing up from the hip flexor as you come through. Slow and steady. You want to really work that foot that is balancing. You want to really work that hip that is driving up, keeping the toes tucked up, like so. Good, one more. Good, swapping feet, transferring, spread the toes, heel and big toe down, drawing up, tuck the toes up as best as you can, tap the heel, just be aware that one foot's going to be better than the other. Slow and steady wins the race. Good, keep tucking those toes up. You want a flat foot as you draw up. Those toes are coming up as much as they can. 2 more. Good, last one. Good. Slide it off, shake it out. Loosen it up. Loosen up your feet. Loosen up your hips. Okay, nice and easy. Nice and gentle, roll in. We've got one more round like that, and then we're going to be stretching. And I'm going to show you some stretches that are going to help loosen up your hip a little. So then that way you can take the pressure off pelvis, the lower back, and these all important quads, which then reduces that tension on that knee, okay? Hope you found this beneficial so far. You're doing absolutely amazing, okay? So keep it up, slow and steady, proud chest. Go back to our original foot, spread the toes to engage that foot as much as you can, and then draw up, okay? Big drive, come back down, tap. Good. Good. Sit, keep it up, keep it going. Good. Some of you feeling those quads and those glutes firing now. Good. Swap your sides. Straight in. Let's go. Let's build up the fatigue. Build up the strength and the form whilst we're fatigued. Okay, so separate the toes. Big draw up. Engage the foot. You want to start feeling those glutes firing because that's what stops the knee drawing inwards. Okay, and those lower legs firing, front of your shins, that stops the foot rolling outwards. Okay, so it's super important that you keep pushing through and embrace that burn. I know we don't like it, but it's going to get you a lot stronger as you do it. 2 more. Good. 1 more. Good job. Well done. So slide the bands off. Now, some of you with sore knees already aren't going to like this one, okay? But you're going to try and plant your feet nice and flat like so. You're going to draw down. Get the stretch. Now, some of you won't be able to go all the way down. You're going to sink into it. You're going to shoot up, okay? Now, if you need to hold on to something, you're going to come down and use your hands to help as you draw up. But if you can, you're going to go into that full range there. Hold your hips, present your chest, sink down, get a stretch in the quads, in the ankle joint itself, and draw up and squeeze just like so. Okay, you don't have to go all the way to feel this one, especially if you're super tight here. It's going to be sore, okay? But it's not going to cause any damage to the knees, okay? It's just sore, all right? And the more foam rolling you do, okay, the more it's going to reduce that soreness, and the more flexibility and range you're going to have, okay? So it all interlinks, and I hope that's the biggest thing that you're taking away from this, is how much little pieces of the puzzle, if we chip away and we have a well-rounded approach, we'll get better as we do this, okay? By all means, revisit this video once it's uploaded as often as you want. If it's something you really need to work on, then do it 2 or 3 times a week. Have a day's rest in between and really incorporate it into your life, because it will make a huge, huge difference and remove those injuries, or at least allow you to manage those injuries as best as you possibly can, okay? So, last one. Good. Now, from there, you may want a pillow for your knee, okay? You're going to put it up onto a raised object like so. You're going to draw forward with that front leg. So you've got a nice little right angle, and the moment you've come up, you would have felt this leg already, okay? Now, you want to go as tall as you possibly can. You want to sink back. Now, if this is too painful, okay, for everybody, hold this position. If it's too much on you and you're starting afresh, you're going to lay down. You're going to hold onto one foot and lift in as you do that. And if you can, like we did before, lifting our
knee off the floor. You're going to lift up ever so slightly, keeping the front of the hip in the floor, holding it just like that. Now, if you need a towel to wrap around your foot to help you lift up, by all means do so, or use a yoga strap. For everybody else, if you can, embrace this one. Draw your hip forward, okay? Try and have a straight shin on the front leg as you draw forward into that position, okay? It's going to feel it in the hip flexor. The moment you tuck your hips under and squeeze your bum, you're going to feel it in your quads dramatically as you do so, okay? So I want you to either hold on to a supported surface, okay? I want you to push on your pelvis, so that short line or trouser line, legging line, whatever you're wearing, okay? Press this so it's at the top of your pelvis and push to embrace the stretch in the hip flexor and the quad, okay? The torso itself, the trunk, is as tall as you can. The shoulders are back to embrace a kind of open-chested version of it. You don't want to be rounded. You want a nice straight spine. And that way, just embrace that kind of stretch as much as you can. Some of you guys, it's going to be super intensive. But again, the more you do this, the better it's going to be, okay? Big deep breaths, guys. Good. Gently swapping sides, okay? Brilliant. So, opposite side, draw in as much as you can, press on the hip, just like where you were on the opposite side. It's going to be a little bit tighter. You might not be able to go down as much. It's just the nature of the beast, unfortunately. So, big, deep breaths. For me, this quad definitely feels tighter. Woo. So big deep breaths. Good. Gently coming back, loosen yourself up from there. You're gonna slide one leg forward. Okay. It's gonna open up your hips already. Now, if you are quite off balance, imagine there's a bar going through your hips. You want that bar as straight as you can. If you're leaning one side or the other, slide a little cushion underneath your bum here. Okay, so it should be off the floor. Slide a little cushion there. You're gonna walk forward. Okay. You're gonna bring the opposite hand underneath. And you're going to try and drop that shoulder down as best as you can as you're doing that. So big, deep breaths. Nice and easy. Good, big deep breaths. So gently coming around, coming up, swapping sides, coming through. Again, same thing. Get yourself comfortable. If you need to put the cushion on this side now, by all means do so. Walk it forward. Keep the hips level if you can, and then come through, aiming to drop that shoulder down as much as you possibly can, and embrace that stretch in your glutes. So it's going to be a really beneficial stretch, especially if you're struggling with your knees, because it's going to help loosen up the hips, the outside of that thigh, and really take that pressure off, especially if you include foam rolling into the mix, or your massage guns, whatever devices you're using at the minute. Make sure you're doing that recovery work, because that is where the money is. Everybody focuses on the training, but no one focuses on the recovery as well, all right? It's a well-rounded picture that athletes have been doing for decades. And I think it's about time us as public kind of really learn that as well. Good. Gently coming up, nice and tall. Spinning around. I hope you have found this exercise session really, really beneficial. It's nice to see so many of you here and so many comments coming up into the comment section. This is what it's there for, guys, okay? It's here to help you and it's here to benefit you. So I hope you feel and found that beneficial. This session, like I said, will be uploaded as usual into our live playlist folder, our weekly playlist folder. So if you look by the week, it'll all be in there, and it'll also be uploaded to our no pain knees video as well. Have an absolutely amazing weekend. If you have any questions, hit me up on social media. Use our discussion board on this channel. Use this video if you want to comment afterwards. I'll use Instagram, Facebook, all our social medias on our about section. So if you want to add us on there, drop us a little message. I'm more than happy to help you guys. This is why I've set it up. I want to make a difference and I want to help you guys get there. Okay, so enjoy it. Have an amazing weekend. Get outside, have a little walk with loved ones, have a coffee or whatever. But yeah, enjoy. And thanks again. If you can, give the video a little like on the way out. Share it with your friends over social media, drop them a text, say, check this video out, it's amazing, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Again, thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I shall see you all soon. Take care. Have a lovely one, guys. Thanks very much.